Well, hello, everybody. This is Dave.
I'm Ron.
And this is the Digital to Dice podcast. As you can tell, we're so prepared for today's show.
This is the ET episode.
196?
196. Has nothing to do with the number, but we are definitely trying to phone home today.
Yeah, I completely forgot the intro here. Holy cow. It's just been a weird week, and we haven't recorded since we had Ed on back.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, a week ago Saturday. So it's been 10 days since we did a show, and a couple of weeks or so since we did a quote, normal show without a guest. So anyway, this is the Digital to Dice podcast. We talk about tabletop sports gaming, computer sports gaming, and pretty much anything else, but it's mostly in the gaming vein of us playing sports games on our tabletop.
Yes.
Ways to get a hold of us is digitaltodice.com is the website. Digital TO Dice is everything. Digital2dice.com. 978-751-DICE is the dice line. You can send us a text. Digital2dice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/Digital to Dice. And as mentioned, this is episode 196. And we had kicked around a couple of topic ideas, but it's been such a frustrating week, mostly for Ron, a little bit for myself. But so we're going to wing it today. And we haven't winged it in a long time.
Been a long time.
We're usually pretty composed and have structure and boundaries, if you will. And
yes.
we have a topic that we're going to discuss in the whole bit. Today's going to be very different. Today we're going to be winging it, and it could be boneless wings, it could be barbecue, it could be buffalo wings.
It's the episode where we jump the shark.
I hope not. I hope we're not jumping any sharks today, but yeah. So we did already.
So let me tell you what's been going on.
Yeah. Ron, get us up to speed on what's been going on with you.
So we did the show with Ed, and we had talked about an idea which I think we'll use sometime this fall for a show. And last Friday afternoon, my wife only works a 4-day week, and she's running an errand, and she's almost home. She's in our yard. And she falls. Boom. In fact, I get the sound effect from the other room because she just got up to go to the bathroom. Oh. So she falls.
Almost made it. She was that close.
We were about 10 minutes away from figuring out what fast food gourmet I was making for dinner. And she, poor thing, fell. And so someone had to come and get me, put me into my chair, and so I saw her being loaded in the ambulance in the rain.
Oh boy.
Okay, so my mother has to come, and that was Friday. She's fine. She has 3 stitches in her forehead. The folks at the local lens crafters fixed her glasses yesterday. She went to put them on today. She was supposed to go to work. It's a bright sunny day here, and it was just too much. Poor thing. Yeah. So that's how my weekend started with that. Kat hasn't been feeling well. She's 12 and starting to show signs of it. Has a vet appointment on Monday. Does not go well at all. A bacterial and fungal infection in all 4 paws that has spread somewhere. So my ability to want to talk about, let's talk sports, shall we? At 1-800-TALK NOW. No, not a bit. We've given her some antibiotic shot and a couple painkillers, and she wasn't limping around today. So today's been a good day for this Wednesday, right? For the cat. And I started streaming again Tuesday night. So I've gone back to work. That's a little bit there. Did a football pilot in such for your approval. I was supposed to start my baseball playoffs this week. It'll be next week. And so the change of seasons and all that, but just stressed beyond belief.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've played some things that I play on my own to try to do that, but anything that involves real thinking is not high on the list of things to do because you don't want to make a mistake. And again, it's not like we're making millions of dollars a year to entertain people. If I don't feel like entertaining people, I'm not going to do it. And so that's pretty much where I've been. And again, I think things are kind of on the upswing again. But again, it takes time to recover. I mean, just a variety of different things all at once. So
emergency room trips, they tend to mess you up for a few days, even if everything's okay.
Right.
Because it's just the stress of it. We're at the hospital. You're there for hours. You're waiting on phone calls, and you're coming home, and you're keeping an eye on things. It's a stressful thing.
Well, for me, the hospital is not within walking distance. So the couple times in the last few years that she's had to go to the ER, I can't go. There's no way for me to get there. You just can't call the wheelchair taxi and say, come get me, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so I'm dealing with it on the phone, making sure that she's okay. Someone brought her phone up to her, so I had a pretty good sense of what was going on. But still, that doesn't, you feel guilty that you can't do that. You know that she's hurting, or that your loved one's hurting. And so, yeah, you really are.
Yeah, the idea of playing a game while someone's in the ER just doesn't, yeah.
No, I mean, that's kind of dirty pool. Oh, my wife's in the ER for an undetermined injury. Well, let's pull out the 78 World Series and do that, shall we? No, not now, honey. Gidry's got a no-hitter going. No.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Luckily, she'll be fine and all that. And again, I started to stream stuff again on Tuesday, but I mean, there's been some sleepless nights, and you try to get an hour or two while you can, because we don't have any children. So the cat is, as you know, I mean, because you have pets too, you know, they take up that extra role. And so, yeah, my anxiety has been, on a scale of 1 to 10, has probably been about a 12 since about Friday at 4:30.
Yeah, when that stuff happens, it's stressful.
Yeah.
Now, over here, it's still been more of the heat, even though it's coming down a little bit. August has not been that bad, but it's still hot in the house. And
it's wet here. It's wet.
It's been humid, and it's been yucky here. And I have had a lot of time, which I don't usually have, and I don't know why, but I've had some time to myself. And when I have time, I'm just lazy. I am so much better when I'm busy. I get more done, and then I will do more. So if I'm busy and I'm working, I get this and I get that, and I get movie scripts to read and playoffs over here, or I'm doing play-by-play. When I'm bouncing around and I'm busy, I get more done. In fact, I will play more games on the tabletop and PC games and stream more when I'm busy than when I'm not. So when I have the time to do it,
because you're geared to do it.
When I have the time and I'm done, like today, I had the whole day off, and I've done nothing. But that's me, and I know me. Now, if I had to work today or tonight, I'd be doing something else. That's just kind of how I'm wired. So I got the gaming paralysis thing going on right now, as I get usually every summer when it gets hot and just yucky.
Yeah, you and playing games in August are two things that we've never really talked about when you're playing. So
August, September is when I keep an eye on that paralysis. It came in a little early this year for me. It really did. I was like, oh boy, it came in like early August, late July this year. But I've been playing a little bit of the Pro Strategy Football on the PC and streaming that and enjoying that. But I have not really pulled out any cards and dice games. I haven't shopped for any games. I haven't bought anything new. It's just been I don't like summers. I'm just not a heat guy. And just when it gets hot out, I just get lethargic. Let's just call it what it is. And up here in the Northeast, it's not like Florida hot or Arizona hot or anything like that. But I mean, we when it's hot up here, it's a muggy hot and it's a draining hot is what it is. And so when I skate or if I play hockey or walk the dog or go to the gym, anything like that just drains me. And I'm just tired for the day. So, so I'm in a gaming paralysis, funk kind of lazy laissez-faire, savoir-faire attitude, whatever you want to call it. I just haven't been able to focus on the gaming thing yet.
Again, the community that watches my stuff, except for one particular person who may or may not be a co-host of the show, who can be a real pill. In fact, I believe you said that you could put away the Ambien now since I was back on.
That guy's a jerk. I know who that guy is.
He really is just a jerk. He's as Paul McCartney said, the jerk of all jerks. I do get relief from talking to people who are like-minded in that. And, you and I, in all seriousness, have built a very good community. So when we do reach out and say things aren't all they are, but again, as soon as you're done, that anxiety comes back because you're home.
Yeah.
And so the added fun this morning of going on, my computer did some sort of update, which is always great to wake up at 2 a.m. to your laptop flashing at you.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thanks. Which wakes my wife up and all that. So I did that. And so I went to do my morning check-in on EVE Online, and Steam wanted my password.
Oh, I hate when it does
I don't remember my password. Usually for some of those things, Google just create me a password that I couldn't remember, and that's fine. Nope, Steam won't let you cut and paste it. You've got to type it in. So okay. Maybe Steve was having trouble. So do my thing this morning, come back in here. Nope. That. So I had to copy the password that Google gave me, throw it onto a document so I can hand type it in. So that was how my gaming day.
Yeah, when that stuff happens. I've had that happen on my phone where I'm logged in for years, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you need to log back in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't logged into this app in forever. It just always is there for me, Right.
And so, the suggested password that Chrome will give you is fine as long as you're logging in by Chrome. But for outside things such as Steam, where you're not logging in through a browser, you're logging in through their application. I don't remember what it was I suggested. I can just I'll change it. So that was that for that. But I try to do, again, when I'm stressed like this, mindless things. Gems is perfect for that. It's a match 3, and they've come out with a new edition of that. It's 7, and I won't say whether I like it or I don't. It's different. And anytime you change something, I do feel like I like the old light bulb better, type deal. I'm getting used to it. And so I play a lot of that because, again, if you mess up with that, you can catch up rather quickly. I don't need to get killed out in space or be streaming something and sacrifice, suicide squeeze 3 times in a row. So I do have a question for you, though, since we're just kind of throwing this together. Are you a gamer that kind of goes by season? So we're coming baseball into football. Do you play more football and football season, baseball and baseball season back? Or I'm not, although it'll seem like that from the streaming.
No. Well, I tend to play before the season. Like right now, I got a little football itch. That's why I'm playing the Pro Strategy football, and I've been playing the 1978 season because football's on the horizon. A couple preseason games. So that's what. So I get the itch before the season. Now in September, I'll probably get the hockey itch before hockey starts playing, and I'll play a lot of hockey. In the winter is when I get my baseball itch, and things like that. So I tend to, like right now, we were talking on the phone today. I was at Market Basket shopping today. We were on the phone, and what did I say I saw on the shelf? I saw Count Chocula cereal and Blueberry and Frankenberry.
Happy Halloween, right?
And you were like, well, it's Halloween. It's August 23rd, so it's Halloween in the stores. It's like, this stuff doesn't come out till late September, early October, but it's out 2 months early now.
Oh, no. I mean, we put away the 4th of July stuff and the Halloween stuff comes out.
Yeah. So,
I remember, and the Christmas stuff will be out before the World Series.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how I do it. I 2 months before the season starts, that's when I start getting excited to play something. It's just kind of how it is for me, is when I start playing stuff.
Not a pumpkin spice person. I don't want to see any of that garbage until the 1st of October.
I kind of think when it comes to the gaming, it's like, so I'm playing a bunch of football now, and I'll get that out of my system. Then when the season starts, I'll get my football fill, so I won't need to play that. You know what I mean? I start playing hockey in September, and then when October comes and they play for real, I'm getting my hockey fix for real. Even I don't watch a lot of the newer stuff per se, but I'll listen on the radio and keep track of it. I follow it from a distance, so to speak. I'm not glued to the TV, but I will follow it. So I get my fix, so I don't need it on the tabletop.
There are things I play year-round. Baseball I play year-round because it's my favorite sport. Golf I'll play year-round. It's up there as my favorite sport.
Oh, yeah, golf I can play anytime.
Basketball I don't necessarily follow seasons. For the stuff that gets streamed, you find that if people's minds are following X sport, you give them X sport. I haven't done a football project in a couple of years, and you should be doing a football project. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. Football, I can, if I get the itch to play something, I'll just pull it out. But as far as to answer the question that I asked, no, just because now it's fall, I'm not more inclined to play football than I would be in April. Because you find a YouTube video or you and I have a conversation or I see something about that, like, oh, yeah, well, that's interesting. You just go ahead and pull it out. And, of course, Strat's releasing all their non-baseball releases right about now. The football game is out. The 85 was their retro season, and so those cards are out. Didn't buy the football game. Not sure if I will or not, although probably will at some point. A lot of their computer managers were redone. That's all in the community. That's not something they do on a Glenhead. That's all done by volunteers. And I probably should get a hold of some of them and get a couple of them on the show. The hockey, there's a couple of things I'm interested in, not necessarily the new game itself, but I think just kind of like last year when a whole bunch of us did the Buffalo-Kansas City divisional playoff game in football. I think a lot of us who are casual hockey fans are going to want to pull out Boston, Florida, play Game 7. How the heck did that happen? And the other thing is, now that my baseball season's almost done, is I do try to think of projects that I can show off in that 13 to 16 weeks before we start baseball season again. And one of them would be to buy the Hockey Hall of Famers and the Hockey Heroes and turn them into international teams and do something along that line.
I have that for the PC, the Strat Hockey PC.
Right.
And I did a little draft with that. I think I drafted 3 different teams and had them play. And it was kind of fun because you had, it was just all names that you heard of. In fact, I think what I actually did is I separated the ones that I knew and the ones that I liked versus the ones that I didn't know very well. Because there are a lot of, older famous hockey players that I just am not familiar with. I don't know everybody in the Hall of Fame.
You don't know Dick Clapper, huh?
Well, yeah, he does. But I mean,
that would be the example. He's not a household name, although he is.
Well, because he's a Bruin, so that's why I know that. But otherwise, I wouldn't. But I mean, I have the cards, and I remember getting the cards physically, and I remember separating them one night, and I sat down with the Strat hockey cards, and I said, okay, I know this guy, I don't know this guy. I know this guy, I don't know this guy. And the stack of don't knows was a little greater than the stack that I do know. And so I was surprised at how many people Strat put out that I was unaware of. So I did that with the PC too. I said, okay, let's take all the guys I know, so that way I know everybody. And I picked 3 different teams, and we just kind of had them play each other. It was kind of fun because it was just like a best of type of thing,
Kind of intrigued by the, like a Canada Cup. So the best USA team, the best Canadian team, the best Russian Soviet team, and the best European team. And doing that. Again, you're going to get high-scoring games just for the law of averages. But in general, I'm not a huge fan of best franchise teams because regardless of the sport, you're going to hit the extremes too much. In baseball, you're either going to have too much pitching and, well, Manny Ramirez wouldn't strike out 7 times against Catfish Hunter, okay? Yeah. Or Catfish Hunter wouldn't give up 4 homers to Manny Ramirez. There's just no happy medium because you are taking whatever engine it is and just kind of stretching it to its breaking point.
It's best against best every time, yeah.
Right. But just to show off for a one-off, if you did like a 3-game, semifinal, it's the Soviets versus the Americans. It's Madonna versus Tretiak. That kind of intrigues me. I wouldn't want to do a whole season of that. So although I haven't played hockey in a while, basketball I'll pull out in the summertime if I'm intrigued by some. Again, it's much more what grabs my interest than, it's this season. But I know that people, especially in the Delphi boards, have talked about it. It's football season. It's time for my annual football replay. Mm-hmm. It's baseball season. Let's pull out the baseball stuff. And I guess, there's no wrong answer, but I was just kind of curious to see what your thought was now that you've done this a few years. Are you a seasoned matcher?
I tend to start before the season, like a little right around the preseason, a little before the preseason. And then I said, like I just said earlier, once the season starts, I start getting my fill on that. Doesn't mean that I don't play hockey in hockey season, because I do. But I get the itch, like I get the football itch right now. That's why I'm doing the pro strategy, you know. So I'm trying to get through my gaming paralysis with that. I'm dying to get back to APA hockey, and I haven't. I'm dying to get back to a lot of projects and just even a lot of one-offs that I got. I mean, I have some APA cards that I got and some Strat cards. I got the 76 Strat baseball that I would like to play, but you know, I got some things I want to do before that, before I start anything else. So, you know, I got a million projects going. I'd like to get back to my 79 project that I was using Digital Diamond to score, and I was playing in different games. I was playing with Back to Basics. I was playing with Pocket Pennant and Strat. I think everything but APA. I don't think I have APA in 79, but I was playing so many different games. Season ticket baseball, I was playing with that. It was so fun. I'd like to get back to that and wrap that up and get that concluded before I do anything else baseball. So...
People ask us for game recommendations all the time, and we just kind of do the old Ronald Reagan and smile and have the helicopter start up and go, well, and not answer it. Because if we say that we like game A, then fans of game B will give us a hard time for not liking it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we don't like game B, but we just don't do it. So I'm going to ask it this way. Because there are a lot of games that are hard to stream, is there something that you really love to play? And I have an answer for this myself, but you don't show it off because, again, it's really hard to make it look good or to stream.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of games. Season ticket baseball comes to mind because I don't cut out the players. I have them on team sheets because I can have 2 or 3 pieces of paper in front of me, and I can just flip. It's usually the top 2 sheets of where the batters are and the pitchers off to the side. So I don't have the individual batters cut out. It's easy for me to store this way because I can just keep them in a folder, and it's easy to do the game, but it makes it hard to stream because I have the sheets in front of me, and it's hard to show the sheets, and people want to see the cards, and so I don't have the cards to show. So that's kind of why I stopped streaming Season Ticket, just because I love the game, but I can't make that work without going and cutting out everybody, you know, and giving everybody an individual card and then having a second camera going. So it's really a pain in the neck and not enjoyable for me sometimes to play that game if I'm trying to show it off. And another one would be Back to Basics, and even Pocket Pennant Run to a certain degree, because you're reading off of sheets, like a spreadsheet. That's where I get it, because when I play Pocket Pennant, I go off the spreadsheet so I can get every player. You know, I don't use the little Pocket Pennant Run cards because they don't have everybody on the team. They do have them if you print out the spreadsheet. Right. And that's the same with Back to Basics from Downey, is that you print out the spreadsheet and you have everybody, and those are the ratings that you look at. It's hard to show off a game like that and make it entertaining, you know. And if you just show, you know, Digital Diamond and you just give them the results, at first I was like, oh, this should be fine. But when people were complaining, boy, I can't see anything.
You're missing something.
Yeah, and I went back and I said, you know, you're exactly right. At first I was like, but I was like, no, you're right. When you can't at least see the dice roll of the cards, you're not there. You're kind of just not really part of that. And so I try to incorporate that, but there's some games that if you're trying to, I like to do the as play and have everybody that started the game at least start the game. That's just me. Even when I play hockey, if they started the game or they played in the game, I want to get you in the game at least a little bit. And when you're reading off spreadsheets or just a team sheet, it's hard to. It's really hard to play a game like that. And then you want to have like I say, usually Digital Diamond, or sometimes it's Replay Baseball PC or Strat PC, that's your visuals there to see where everybody is and your score. Right. So it's like, how do you balance the size of that with the size of the camera that you're showing on your desktop to show the cards and dice part of the game? And some people just show the cards and dice and just have a notebook and play off to the side, and that's okay too. But you know, I'm a visual guy. We were just talking about this earlier. How
baseball demos does a lot of that. Tribe fans.
Some people do it really well. Me, yes. I like to have some visuals going on with me, so I can you know the score, you see who's on base, or you see someone's on base anyway. You see what the inning is, and you don't always have to keep bringing that up. But it just makes it hard. It's like, how big do I make this on the screen? How big do I make that on the screen? You know. And it's not an easy thing to do. So there are some games, mostly baseball, or even sometimes the quick play games are tough to do that with. Whereas when I play the hockey games, when I do Apple hockey cards and dice or hockey bones, I have a pretty good setup for that, I think, where I can show the whole game on the tabletop with the cards, and then I have the spreadsheet helper going. And I have that as my scoreboard, and I busted that up into, the main scoreboard and shots on goal and a few things like that. So I have a better setup for other games. Now, the PC games are all easy to stream pretty much. It's just a matter of where you're going to put I like to have my camera on, so when I watch somebody play a game, I like to see their face and react to the game. That's just me. So I like to be on the screen. So sometimes it's
I'm the complete opposite of that.
No, I like to see the people playing the game. And sometimes I'm in right field, sometimes I'm in left field, sometimes at the bottom of the screen, sometimes at the top of the screen. It all depends on what game you play as to where the pertinent information is on the screen, where the scoreboard is. What am I going to be blocking with my face? Now, there's a couple of games that I couldn't find any place to put myself, so I didn't. But when I watch a stream, I like to see the player playing the game, because they'll look up at the camera once in a while and make a face or make a funny joke, and you can, something will happen and you can see the reaction on their face. So that it's part of that. When you just see the game, it's okay, but I prefer to see somebody on the screen, so that's why I put myself on the screen. So those are some of the games that I enjoy playing, and sometimes I just play off to the side and I don't stream because it's tough to make them look good. And then you try it or you do your best and you get complaints at it, and you're like, this is why I didn't want to do this, because I got people complaining that something isn't good enough on the stream. So that's why I sometimes don't do that.
Anything with the spreadsheet is difficult. First of all, because for me to play something on a spreadsheet, I usually have to have 2 or 3 different windows open, and some way to generate a random number or a play. So there might be a tab for an Andy Lewis flipper, or there might be ball roller open. And then you got charts that you have to look through. And at some point, you kind of get to where you get yourself into a rhythm to do it, and you don't want to break it. Certainly wouldn't want to do it live because it's boring to watch. Motorsport is a pretty good example. I like the game. People want me to do more of it. But, for instance, this past year, in trying to do stop and start to record, the recording of the actual finish of the race was on pause. So I had to make it up.
I remember that, yeah.
And, and so you can kind of call the action in your head in one of those games where you get a pretty good rhythm, and you can figure out how the car crashed, or in any of the Shavita games, how the skier went off the rack or whatever. But to convey that into a way that the person that's going to be watching can follow just as kind of a bridge too far. There are a lot of good games out there that don't get a lot of public love from us, except for on the what we're playing part, just because, look, I'm not going to spend 2 hours producing something that I know that the average person's going to watch for 5 minutes. That's not a complaint against the person that's watching. I wouldn't want to come through and go, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, it's got to be entertaining. And I'll give you a good example of this. We were talking earlier that I was on YouTube last night, actually, late after work, and just kind of mindlessly watching something. And I stumbled on the Michael Rockefeller story about back in the 60s, where he was trying to go to the island on New Guinea and deal with the tribesmen there and the whole bit. And as the story goes, his boat was sinking, so he went to swim to the island, and they don't know if he drowned, they don't know if he made it and was killed, and they don't know if he made it and joined the tribe, because there's evidence that show all three, that any of those possibilities. And so you get on the rabbit hole, as you do when you find an interesting story. And so I stumbled on 3 or 4 different channels of people talking about it, and there were some people that just sat in front of the camera and talked, and there's other people who talked about it and showed actual pictures of the tribe, pictures of Michael Rockefeller, pictures of the boat, and
people with good audio-visual skills.
Yeah, so while he was describing this pontoon boat, he showed a picture of the actual boat from the archives. So now I know what it looks like. It showed a picture of the man himself. Now I know what it looks like. It showed a picture of the guy that dug out the films, and there was a picture of him opening the box with all the reel-to-reel films. So I watched 2 or 3 videos, and the ones that I got the most out of was the ones that had some pictures flash up on the screen. It's kind of like giving a presentation, and you click on the projector and you show the next picture and you talk about it. Whereas if you're just kind of talking, your mind wanders a little bit, But when you have something to focus on, I think that's where it is right there. So it's just kind of the visuals there for me are important, just when I'm watching. So I try to make that part of my stream.
I don't stream a lot of the strat stuff, and I guess it kind of will lead to my next question is, what do you play that's strictly for yourself?
I play a lot of things, actually, off to the side. I like to share some things, but there's some things that,
right.
Like I'm playing, and I haven't played in a while because I'm in gaming paralysis, okay, but I bought the 78 APA baseball season, and I'm playing the Red Sox. And I'm playing that, and I think I played like 5 games in 2 days, and then a couple more, but I haven't got back to it, so I'm like 10 games into the season. But I'm playing that completely offline, just me. Occasionally I'll throw out a score, or if something happens in a game, I'll share it with somebody. But that's one I'm playing for me. I'm not streaming any of it. It's just myself offline, enjoying it, and I don't have to worry about anybody complaining about what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. And when I sit down and I'll play a couple games because it's APA basic and I can bang that out pretty quick and enjoy it, and just enjoy it for what it is, and not have to worry about any critique or anything like that. And it stinks because sometimes you like to share some things, especially when something really good happens, or what I consider good. And you're like, oh, how about that, folks? That was unbelievable. But I'm just playing that 78 season myself offline, just by myself and enjoying it. I'm also, another game, probably I don't think I've touched this in about a year now, but I have Ultra Quick Hockey from Downey. And I think it's 1982, and I'm playing all the Edmonton Oilers games, and I want to see.
The Super Gretzky season, yeah.
I want to see what the Oilers' record's going to be, and I want to see how many points Gretzky has. And I think I'm 10, 12 games into that, and I haven't played that in about a year, but that's another one that's never seen the light of day outside my own table. And I just sit down, and I'll just, play it and just enjoy it and play a couple of games and get some stats. And so there are some things I play, mostly because if I wanted to stream it, like we talked about, how fun would it be just me rolling dice, Okay, Edmonton gets 3 goals, and, Calgary gets 2 goals. Let's see how many goals Gretzky gets. Roll the dice. Okay, Gretzky does not get a goal. Gretzky does not get an assist. Gretzky, it's just, it's not real fun to watch. It's like watching somebody read a book. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, though that particular project is something that I'm just going to do off to the side, and then I'll do a video or something when I'm done and show my stats or whatever.
That's pretty much how I would describe my strat play. It is much more for my own enjoyment than for anyone else. And some of it, of course, has to do with nostalgia, and some of it has to do with the fact that I like how all 4 of those games play. And again, play the way that I want to play and get the enjoyment out of it. I really think that that a project or even a one-off game is the same as reading a book or reading a magazine article. It writes itself in the sense that you have to interpret it to how it comes out. I mean, if I told you that the Reds beat the Royals by the score of 7-5, you could interpret that however you wanted to. If you were a Royals fan, you'd be upset. If you were a Reds fan, you'd be thrilled. If you were a Pete Rose fan, like, what, he hit 2 home runs? That's amazing. And so you want to, there is a joy to this hobby that you can make that own self-discovery for what it is. Does Gretzky get the hat trick? Does the Bruins finally beat the Canadians? Does Peyton Manning finally beat the Patriots or whatever it is that is uniquely your own experience? And I think for those of us who make sure that we put out enough content to share with other people, I'm just saying this for me, that's like, no, at some point you got to play for your own enjoyment.
Yeah.
You're playing for yourself. And again, I don't want to have to explain why I did A, B, or C. It makes sense to me. It was a hell of a story for me, but it doesn't mean that. Again, I'm not afraid of the audience, but again, if you bought 50 Shades of Grey and I didn't care about it, then it wouldn't really matter what I thought of what you're reading, and it's up to you as long as you enjoyed it. And so I think the strat games give me enough independence in being able to manually roll the dice in both the baseball and the football game that I get that tactile experience of I'm the one that's opened up the sporting news from fake date 1937 and write my own stories. I mean, we talked when the show started about this really being the choose your own adventure books.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I want that.
Yeah.
And since I saw how the results were derived or watched all the play, it's all plausible. And so you really can't nitpick. Well, should you have subbed for Larry Bird in that situation? And I get a great deal of enjoyment. Doesn't mean that projects get finished or whatever. It's just you got to play for yourself, I think. And again, Strat does have some limited graphic ability, but I shut all of that off. It's not the experience that I'm personally looking for. I'm playing the game in between my ears. And I need some Q-tips because they're itching us dirty. But in all seriousness, you're playing for you, and I think that's important.
Well, sometimes too, when you're playing a game and you're streaming it, if it turns into a dog, and you just like, if I wasn't streaming this, I would just be speeding along in this game.
Where's the zoom button?
Yeah, I would be clicking buttons a lot faster, just to get through it, or rolling dice faster. But when you're streaming, you got to be entertaining no matter how bad it is. And there's things that you just can't do. You can't say, all right, well, I'm going to speed this up or this and that. No, you got to gut it out. So there's times when I'm playing myself, oh, man, this game's a beatdown. Just roll the dice, and you kind of just skipping some things. It's like, okay, this game's over. Let's just get it done, and you're not calling the timeouts that teams may or may not call in real life. You're just like, okay, let's just get this over with here, or you're not putting out your best guys, and, like I say, hockey game's out of whack. I'm putting out line 4 right now. I'm going to let them skate for 4 minutes because it's 6-0, whatever.
Right. You might as well get them in there. Maybe they get in a fight and injure somebody.
Or you put in the backup goalie or something, and you just kind of do things that you just, if you were streaming, you wouldn't do because it wouldn't be what would really happen. And I try to give an authentic experience when I stream. Best I can. Yeah. And just, okay, what would the team do here? Now, again, I make bad decisions in baseball, so there's a difference between me making bad decisions and me doing something a little crazy, having Jim Rice bunt or something like that. You know what I mean? I would do that. And I occasionally do that on a stream, but then you hear about it. You're like, well, geez, dude, it's 9-0. I'm going to have him bunt. You know what I mean? So, yeah, sometimes it's like when you get a bad game, and I've had some bad football games on this Pro Strategy replay from 1978. I look at I try to pick a good matchup, teams with similar records, and it's just, the Lions, they lead, 21-0 over the Vikings, like the entire game or something like that. I was like, oh, that was a fun one. That was, I think I played a game, it was 7-0 at the half. I was like, man, I couldn't have picked a worse game. It was just punt. I said, I'm going to create a football game. It's called Punt. No one can score. It's just you're always going to punt. That's the name of the game, punt.
And that's the challenge in being a broadcaster is because in real life you have no control over that. Here you can kind of zoom through or make fun of it, but you certainly, because I know you've done high school football, can't make fun of those kids. And if the defense does their job, what are you going to say? Oh, God, this is boring as whale poop. Like, no, those kids have done their job. They have shut down the other team. And in the broadcast, you got to say that as opposed to pros and all that.
We'll go completely off topic for a second here.
Sure.
What really I've run into lately is that I've had some things, and you go to, like, I had a jacket. I don't know if I told the jacket story a while back, but back in the spring, I was like, my jacket just ripped apart. It was just falling apart, holes everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I remember you having a very difficult time finding what you wanted.
I loved this jacket because it had pockets everywhere, so I could put my phone, my wallet, my keys, I could put a backup pair of reading glasses. I could, whatever I needed to have on me at work at the rink, I could fit in this jacket comfortably. And when I went to buy that jacket again, they get rid of a lot of the pockets that they had. And I like the pockets all over the jacket. It's almost like a photographer's jacket. And I was like, I can get at everything. They're right here. I know where they are. I can get at them. Why did they change? And I couldn't find a jacket. And I would order a jacket and send it back, or order a cheapo jacket from China and just throw it away, because it's like, boy, these things just... And so they change. They, quote, make it better, but they've actually made it worse. And I had to hunt down jackets on eBay that I liked, and I found the exact one I had. I think I ordered 3 of them. I did. I ordered 3 of them. Somebody had them. I said, give me all 3. They weren't even the color that I wanted, but I says, I can't find this jacket anywhere. So now I should have that jacket covered for the next 5, 6, 7 years. My favorite jacket, because I got 3 of them. But anyway, I had these Bose earbuds, and they were the quiet comfort.
Okay. Yep.
And they're the noise canceling. And holy cow, like if you weed whack or leaf blow or cut the grass, it cuts 85-90% of the noise out. It is so good on your ears. In fact, when I go to the rink and I score keep, I put them in because it gets rid of all the loud noise of the puck banging. It's loud. That rink gets loud. It's a big metal building and it just echoes. And so I use them all the time to cut out the noise. Well, the only problem with these ones here is I'll get 6 months to 9 months, maybe a year out of them, and then they start to fry.
They wear out, yeah.
Because all the electronics go, they start crackling, and one ear gets worse. And so I've sent them back, and I got a free repair. I think I've had 2 sets of them, and I've sent them back. Each of them have gone back already for a free repair. So now I'm on my 4th set, and those started crackling. And so I sent back another pair. When I opened the package up, they sent me the 2.0 version. So instead of getting the Quiet Comfort earbuds, I got Quiet Comfort 2 from Bose. And they were very different than the ones I had. The buds were smaller. The case was smaller. Everything about this was different. I had a hard time getting them out of the case. The other ones...
That's never any fun.
No.
That's frustrating as anything.
Yeah, it's like if you struggle to get something out of the package, it's just like, it's like, like those shrink wrap plastic things you get. You order something, you got to take a utility knife to cut this thing out of the plastic. But when you order something else. But these things here, it's like every time I open the case, and I couldn't pull them out. They just were so small and in that case. And so then I put them in, and they worked pretty good. But I think I hung up on you a couple times because they changed all the controls. It's like, why, like the jacket, why did they change everything? That jacket was awesome, and I liked it, and they changed it. They don't make it anymore. So now Bose, they don't make the old set of earbuds anymore. Now they have this new improved set, which for me are horrible. I couldn't pull them out. I got them in the ear. I got them to work, but the controls were all different. Why did they change the controls? I don't know. What was on the right is now on the left. So I would tap to try to answer the phone. I would hang up on people, and it wasn't working. And then the old ones, I could leave those ones in the case, because the case, you charge the case, and the case charges the buds, how it works, okay?
All right.
And so I could leave those buds in the case for weeks and take them out and still have 90 to 100% charged. They were just fantastic. These new ones, I charge the case, I put the buds in there, right? I go to the gym, 2 days later, 50%. Like, what's going on? Why are they not charging in the case? They should be charging in the case. This happened the entire week. Every time I pull them out, 50%, 50%. I'm in the case. They should be 100% when I take them out of the case, right? So between not being able to pull them out cleanly out of the case, screwing up the controls on them, and then having them just not be charged. And I've been to the gym and they die on me, and it sucks because it's like, oh, now what do I do? It's like you just don't want to work out anymore. It's like, why are these things at 50%? So I read on it, it's like, oh, maybe the contacts are dirty. Well, they're brand new. The contacts should be new. I'll try it. So I took a Q-tip out with some alcohol, and I went into the case to clean the contacts, and it got caught on a wire, and it ripped the connection. And it's junk now. Junk. And when I put the bud in there, it wasn't even connected anymore because the Q-tip had wrapped around the little pin and bent it. And it was junk, the whole thing. So
goodness,
I was so frustrated. It's like, man, luckily they were a replacement. I didn't pay for them. But it's like the Quiet Comfort 2, a junk. And I threw them away. And I think I stepped on them before I threw them away because I was that mad. It was just like, come on. The old ones were so good. They just, every 6 to 9 months, they broke. You know what I mean? The new ones, I couldn't get them to work. I couldn't get them to charge. Couldn't get them to charge for the life of me. So it's like, why? I don't get why these companies, they have such a good product, and then they change it, and they come out with something, quote, new, and it's worse. It's worse.
Remember buying, because I can't mention the name because it's sitting right next to me, but the Amazon speaker product. And the first one I got, I believe, was a second generation, the hockey puck size thing.
Yep.
Loved it. Mono speaker, you would never know it's mono. Good rich sound with it, blah, 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 blah. Got the updated one a couple years ago, the third generation. It's now golf ball shape, bigger than that. I didn't think it sounded as good. So I went back to the other one because it was still good. It was just older. Sounded fine. I have the stereo one that's sitting next to me now, and she sounds great. But yeah, new technology, and again, I know for that sort of thing, it's still very experimental. But it's like, if you know the sound works on it, why would you change how that is?
The other thing these Bose had, when you first put them in the ear, it had like this little crescendo, it went like, and then it was like battery at 80%. And it was kind of neat. The new ones, it had the crescendo, but it was a very angry crescendo. It was like,
yeah, if it sounds kind of tinny.
No, it just was angry. Like the first one was like, and this was like, I was like, oh my gosh, they even wrecked the sound, the boot up sound. They wrecked. And it was so frustrating. And it's like when I finally bent the pin as a good, this is my excuse to throw these things the hell out and never use them again.
If it's not what you want,
now, maybe they were just not. They sat on my shelf for a while because, again, that was my backup set. Because I had the two, and I would send one back to be repaired, use the new one, the repaired ones would come back, or the new set would come back and sit on my shelf till the new ones broke, if you follow that. So I had two sets I was cycling through. And when I opened it, I was like, holy crap, they sent me the new ones. Oh, these must be great. Well, no, they sucked since day one. Now, unless something was broken, they just wouldn't charge. But every time I pull them out, 50%. No, you're in the case. When you're in the case, it's 100%. You're charging the entire time. They should not be 50%. And so I was really bummed out about that. But everything about them bummed out. So, yeah, that's just another thing I thought I'd throw out there today. Is when you have something you like, and you're used to it, and then they go and they change it, and it's like, they get rid of it. They have the new version, either 2.0 or 3.0, or maybe they change the whole thing, but it's like, where the heck is this? Bring it back. This was great. Why did you change it? You had something great here, and you wrecked it.
You've just described Coca-Cola in 1985.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah. So anything before we go, anything you're looking forward to, gaming-wise? I mean, we know there's some new stuff coming out. The weather's going to cool off.
I did have the pre-order for the Strat hockey, so I got the PC version plus the cards, and I even ordered a baseball season, which I guess they're going to ship all at once because they didn't send me the baseball yet. So I imagine that everything's going to be sent at once, the hockey cards and the baseball cards. I don't know. I'm looking forward to. There's some new games coming out that I'm actually going to be beta testing pretty soon. I think I just got the codes in on the email that I got to go and download and kick around and help beta test them. So there'll be a couple new games this fall I'll be looking forward to. A couple games that I play semi regularly, so it's kind of nice.
That's always
looking forward to more seasons coming out. I think Stone Cold Hockey has got some WHA seasons coming out, so that might be kind of fun to kick around with and play. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to kind of getting the cool weather here, get into September, have some nice cool nights. I can open the window down here nice and cool, then I can set up everything here. It's just when it's, 75, 80 degrees down here and I got to turn on all the lights to stream, it just makes it kind of yucky. Then I'm sitting in the chair it's like I'm just like sweating all over because it's just too hot. So I'm looking forward to the nights where I got to put on a sweatshirt down here, and then I can be nice and cool to do it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Strat stuff there. Looking forward to these games that I've been are gonna be beta testing, and do some of that. I'm looking forward to getting back some of the products that I put off on the summer. But again, as I get into September and I start getting busier, and October is going to be a ridiculously busy month doing all the hockey broadcasts, that's when I tend to play more. Yeah, because I'm in a go type of mood.
To unwind.
Yeah, it's a good place to escape. Maybe that's it. It's a good place to escape. Right now, I'm not escaping from anything. July, August are kind of dog days for hockey, and that's the business I'm in. So I just I slow down, and everything slows down to a point where, I don't even walk the dog as much. He doesn't like going out when it's hot now, so I don't go out with him, and I just kick back and I watch, crazy things on YouTube was kind of what I do. And so instead of getting creative and enjoying these games, and I consider every time we play a game being creative, because you're creating a story, you're creating a game, you're creating a storyline, if you will, and you're playing and having some fun with that. So I tend to be less creative and less into that during the dog days of summer up here. And then when it cools down, September, October, I get focused and I get busy, and then I start rolling with it again. So
coming.
That's kind of my plan. Yeah, we're not too far away. It's August 23rd right now, so in another 11 days or whatever we'll be into September.
Well, tomorrow up on the hill at the University of Vermont is the first day of moving.
Yeah.
So summer up here kind of ends today.
I've already noticed the traffic has been better on the highway when I go to work at supper time. I get on the highway now, I'm like, holy cow, the traffic used to be bumper to bumper, and now it's not. So we're hitting different traffic patterns, which I hope will be better. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. So a couple of new PC games, and new versions of PC games coming out this fall, some new card sets maybe, and who knows who else, really. Who knows who else? I mean, I've built up a pretty good arsenal of games over here.
Yes.
I really have. And I always get people ask me, how come you haven't done this? And how come you haven't done that? It's like, there's no really particular reason why I haven't done a particular game or anything. It's just that I have so much, and like I say, Golden Corral. I play this for a little bit. I'll get hot and heavy with a game for a few weeks, and then I'll go and play a different game. And that's just kind of how I do it over here. And I'll see something about, okay, no, I have to go play this now. I'll see a YouTube video or a Facebook post. It's like, okay, now I need to go play this football game right now. And that's kind of how I do it. I see keys, I see shiny keys dangling, I see a squirrel. It's just kind of how I do it over here. But eventually I will get back to some of my projects. And there is nothing quite as satisfying as finishing a project. It really. I enjoy that, and I try to do that more. And that's why I try to give realistic projects rather than products that are just unrealistic, But there are some that I know I could get back to and do, and that will only take me a few more weeks to finish. And so I should do that, including the Pro Strategy Football project that I'm doing, because I think I'm in week 12 out of 16. So in another a couple more broadcasts, I'll be through the regular season. Then I got to figure out what I want to do for playoffs. Do I want to play all the playoff games? Do I want to play one wild card game and sim the other one? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, because it's a 16-game season. I'm playing one game a week, and I think if I go into the playoffs, it's going to be 9 games if I play the playoffs.
See, 2, 4, 2, and 1, so 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got 9 more games to play. So I guess I could play all the playoff games if I really wanted to. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Just kind of refocusing, get back into work mode. Again, summer comes and I just get lazy, especially I got a day off today. I've done nothing but go to Market Basket. Didn't do a dang thing aside from record the show with you. But the thing is, yourself. And if you know yourself, then you can't get mad at yourself, because I know that this is how...
That's true. No, that's a good point.
This is just how I'm wired, Now, if all of a sudden I get a ton of work drop on me tomorrow, I'd be playing all these games because I'm busy. That's just kind of how it works for me.
All right.
What are you going to be playing?
What am I going to be playing? Been asking around. There'll be some sort of football project. I really want to take some time between the versions of Action PC Baseball to go through some of the homemade homebrews that Steve Tate's done. I mean, he did those franchise slices, and him and Beatles Eternally have done such a tremendous job with that. And who knows? I'm no one's asked me to beta anything, but I never know what's about to come out, and so I might not have something on my radar, and I'll see it pop up, and oh, well, I'm kind of intrigued by that, and so it's kind of a relaxed time of year because I'm not putting out 3 or 4 baseball videos a week. Which is what I want to do. I mean, it makes it sound like, well, that's not what you don't do it, but I enjoy doing that. And so that's kind of my Retro Sports Network version of just kind of going through and seeing what's out there. You never know what's going to work, what doesn't work. But But yeah, we play a lot of different types of games and see what I've missed in the last year, because the focus of the channel is that baseball replay, and so you don't really want to get messed up with too much. But no, I mean, we both have our hands with a lot of different developers and a lot of different games, and of course the days get shorter and all that, and so so between now and the first of the year, it's kind of like, tell me what you want, show me what you want me to see.
There's sometimes that I have so many games. We have so many good relationships with people who had created some of these games that I feel so guilty that I'm not playing some of these games. I do. I look over and I see all these games to my left in my folder, and then behind me here, and just on the PC, and it's like, man, I need to play more of Game X, and I need to play more of Game Y, because I like the person that created the game. I like the game. It's a fun game. I like to show it off, and it's just sometimes you just don't get to it. And there's this, I have this guilt. There's a couple games I haven't played in a long time, and I just have this real guilt that I put on myself. It's like, I should be playing this game because it's fantastic. And I know once I put it on the table here and play it, that I'm going to be like, oh man, yeah, this is so good. It's like digging into a favorite food you hadn't had in a while. It's like, oh man, I need to go and eat more of this. This is good, So, well, that's all. I mean, gaming paralysis, it stinks. It stinks so bad. But when you finally break through that and get a game on the table, and you just like, oh yeah, this.
It's important to recharge. It's important to recharge, because you and I mean, this is more than just a basic hobby that you pull out on a Saturday and fool around. It's not like we're playing with a wooden lathe for a couple hours on a week. Oh, you fix the chair leg. Okay, I'll get to it now. I mean, we do this a lot. And so, no, you need a vacation away from that to a point so you can keep doing it, because just like anything else, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, now what?
It's not that I don't like doing this, but I think that's a good way of putting it. Sometimes you step away and then you come back and now you miss it. Like, okay,
right?
It's not like I've given up, but yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, a little recharge, get away from it, watch some YouTube, just kick back. I've been watching the Pluto TV. I think I mentioned that. They have the Godzilla channel and the Stargate channel, and I get up in the morning with my coffee and I put that on. It's like, okay, go watch Godzilla, watch Stargate, and next thing you know,
they have the Bob Barker channel too.
Oh, jeepers, yeah, they have everything on Pluto TV. It's really fun. I gotta stay away from it because it's. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I have since I went to Pluto TV. It's really kind of fun. But anyway, yeah, let's wrap this up. Episode 196. So you've been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast. A little bit of off the cuff and off script today, as we just kind of chatted a little bit on this hot sunny afternoon.
We phoned this one in, yes.
Yeah, we chatted. This is kind of what we do during the week anyway. So we figured we'd bring it on live to you guys here and get you involved. Anyway, ways to get a hold of us: digitaltodice.com is the website. Digital2dice, todice.com. 978-751-DICE is the way to send us a text. digitaltodice@yahoo.com, and over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. The 3 stars will be back next week, and hopefully we'll have more to report on our playing. Just dog days of summer. We kind of just easing into episode 200, which is coming up shortly, and so this one here, we figured just kind of have a little chat and talk to you guys. So.
Yep.
Anyway, so I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
I'll talk to everybody. Take 2. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
I'll talk to everybody later.
Bye-bye.